Okay, we're going to take a look at solving two absolute value equations. So the guideline for these is to isolate the absolute value, whatever it is. So in this particular problem, it would be, first thing we would do was add 5 to both sides. So we have absolute value of x plus 7 is equal to 23. And think of absolute value as a distance. Distance is never negative, but we can have positive and negative direction. So think of, we have both the distance in the positive and negative direction. So we'll have x plus 7 is equal to 23. And then kind of think of the negative direction, x plus 7 is equal to negative 23. So we'll have two different equations, one for kind of the positive direction, one for kind of the negative direction. And we'll solve them both the same way by subtracting 7 from both sides. And one of them will be x is 16, or the other one will solve the same way. X will be equal to negative 30. Okay. So those will both have the same distance. The absolute value is going to be 0 when x is equal to negative 7. So we can think of that absolute value of x plus 7 as representing the distance from x and negative 7. So the number 16, to get from negative 7 to 16, here's negative 7 and here's 16. So we'd have to travel 7 to get to 0 plus an additional 16. So that will be 23 altogether as a distance. Now for the negative 30, here's negative 30 and here's negative 7. To get from negative 7 to negative 30, we'd have to, again, travel a distance of 23. So that distance is going to be the same. It's just one's a positive, one's a negative direction. Okay. If we look into an absolute value equation that has two absolute values, so it's an absolute value equals an absolute value. There are actually 4 possibilities where the left is the positive and the negative direction, and then the right hand side is the positive, and then you have the left hand side is positive and negative direction, and then we consider the negative direction for the right hand side. They all boil down to 2 equations, and what we can do is we can just drop the absolute value bars on the first one, and then have the right hand equation be the same and then the opposite. So kind of just like what we did with just a number, you have the positive direction and the negative direction. Okay, we're going to solve these real similar. I'm going to try to keep them real similar in how we solve them. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5 from both equations on both sides. So I'll have 2x equals 3x minus 12, or 2x equals negative 3x plus 2. Now the next step, we're going to move the 3 or negative 3x over to the left hand side, so we're going to subtract 3x on the left equation, and we're going to add 3x on the right equation because it's negative on the right equation. Okay, so we'll have negative x is equal to negative 12, so we'll divide both sides by negative 1, and x is equal to positive 12, or 5x is equal to 2, so we'll divide both sides by 2, and x is equal to 2/5. Okay, now you can plug both of those back in to both sides of this equation, and then take the absolute value of both sides, and you will in fact get the same distance either way. So I wouldn't get bogged down too much in the details. This isolate the absolute value, and then you'll have absolute value, drop the bars, you'll have the positive and the negative. So here we had the positive, and here we had the negative direction.